Tonight we're going to be hearing...
Can you hear me on this?
Tonight we are going to be hearing a presentation from our president, Jeff Macleod, and I want you all to know that I had very little to do with this.
He actually had everything to do with this. So was it his idea? No, it wasn't. Okay. So I've been the president of this club for almost a year and a half coming up now. As many of you know, I'm also a solar system ambassador. I work for the Wayne State Planetarium, which basically means I have some privileged access. And you know what? It's just time that you guys knew the truth, okay? So we're gonna put on our hats. Okay. April Fools. Okay. I wanted to do the evidence. I couldn't find any. So I'm just going to tell you things that flat earthers have told me. This is basically just going to be told through imagery and memes, things that I've literally been told. So I have been told that it is a giant government conspiracy that the Earth is round to make you think that you can't go nowhere. What more evidence do you need than the UN logo? That looks like a flat Earth model. I'm going to try not to spend too much time refuting this evidence. I think it's fair enough that it's clear that it's just ridiculous.
Would they feel better if the Earth was animated in there?
You know, I don't know. What they basically did is they made their model look like the UN model and then used that as evidence of their model. So, but I've also been told that...
there it is.
We know it's not a globe, but we don't know what it is. So there may be a dome. Some people are domers. Other people are what's known as infinite flat Earth, so it just keeps going forever. And so trying to make the night sky work on an infinite plane is even more difficult than the dome, which also doesn't work. I have been told that the seasons work a little bit differently than you may think. It's fairly obvious. The sun just gets farther away and spirals in and spirals down. Makes perfect sense. I have been told that perspective is not what you think it is. It makes perfect sense to me, but I love this picture. I have no idea what's going on here, but this is the kind of thing that flat earthers point to and go, I mean, doesn't that make sense? You look down here. This is how they say perspective works. You can see down for a little bit, but then your vision curves up and there's sky that you can't see, and that's what explains. So basically, the Earth doesn't curve, your vision does.
And artists are wrong.
Yes, all of them, for thousands of years. I have been told that sun rays explain in very good detail that the Earth is flat. There was, oh yeah, the sun looks close because it is. It's really that simple. That's the level of education we're talking about here. They get it so wrong, I don't even know how to go into just how wrong this is, but I'll point out that these people are good enough to make these animations, like this is photoshopped in. How did you learn Photoshop? And, anyway. I have been told that gravity is a lie. I couldn't find a good image of it, but what's actually happening is the disk of the Earth is accelerating upward at 9.8 meters per second, creating the illusion of gravity. If you want to do the calculation for yourself, even with a young Earth of only 6,000 years, do the math on how fast the Earth would be going after 6,000 years of 9.8 meters per second acceleration. It's rather fast. It's several orders of magnitude beyond the speed of light. But we're talking to people that are refuting Newtonian mechanics, so you don't even want to get into Einstein mechanics with these people. So speed of light, none of that stuff matters to them. This is probably my favorite one, just because of how ridiculous it is. I'll also point out that they're saying that the Earth and the globe, water would flow to the lowest point, but it still flows up and then down. I don't know what's going on here. This is also one of my favorites of all time. I have no idea what's going on here. It says magnetic levitation, so the opposite side of the Earth is anti-gravity, and then there's these positive ions that are created. Once again, I don't know what's going on here, just someone made that. One of my favorite videos I've ever come across on YouTube, when I actually did go down the flat earth rabbit hole a few years ago and actually talk to these people, southern circumpolar constellations were always like my best piece of evidence. Like everything else can be skewed or manipulated, you can use the math the wrong way, but you explain to me how you get southern circumpolar stars on a flat earth. And this guy, oh boy, he done it, okay? So there's a flat earth, and then there's this thing called the celestial disk. And on the bottom of this disk, we have the northern stars, and on the top of the disk, we have the southern stars, and then the dome is reflective, so you see up, and it reflects back to the dome. And so in this picture here, you can't really see it, he's put a flat mirror here and a flat mirror here, and then he's produced this image that perfectly shows the melding of the two hemispheres. And this all moves and is in motion. It all sounds very compelling. Oh wow, look at that. He's also zoomed in. I cropped the image. You can still see Polaris from the equator. And so it doesn't quite work with the flat mirrors. If you actually go to a curved dome, it really doesn't work. So, but anyway, flat earthers will just tell you that we don't know what the shape of the dome is. It's very mysterious. You can't just write this stuff off so easily. But that's southern circumpolar stars. Another favorite of mine is that the moon can't be round, because if it was round, it would only illuminate a hot spot. I mean, that's how things reflect off of a sphere, after all, right? When the sphere is perfectly smooth, anyway. Clouds behind the moon. Haha, gotcha. I think this is everyone's favorite eclipse picture, the planet eclipse. Everyone loves that one. And lastly, this one,
eclipse.
yeah, so this is the disk of the Earth being eclipsed by the sun. And flat earthers really hate this one because they say you're not paying attention. The disk never goes in between the sun and the moon. The moon and the sun are above the disk and rotate around. We'll get to eclipses in a moment, actually. This is just a good moon picture. But this last one, technically not a flat Earth meme. It's a moon hoaxer meme, but I just love it so much that I had to put it in here. The moon, bright enough to cause light reflections on the ocean, but failed to be as bright when we landed on the moon. I can't even begin with how wrong that is, and how much it makes me laugh. I don't know if they believe in the moon landing or not. If they're saying, like, I don't know which one they're saying is wrong. I don't know. So let's talk about eclipses for a minute. So we can see in the model here that the sun and the moon are both above the disk. The disk never gets in between them, so how do you get an eclipse? Well, you just have an unseen light-blocking object that just goes in between them every once in a while. Fair enough, okay. If eclipses are real, why do you need special NASA glasses to see them? Did anyone use their glasses at totality? Because if you did, you screwed it up. You're not supposed to use the glasses at totality. So again, kind of missing the mark there a little bit.
That was a gambit to blind flat earthers.
And this is another favorite of mine where someone gets a hold of a very simplistic model and then like refutes it because they know that that's not how reality is, and so then the whole model gets thrown out. The globe model cannot exist because we would see lunar eclipses every month, just like completely negating the nuances of like the orbits of the moon and the Earth and the sun anyway. But again, if the moon is only like 6,000 miles away, yeah, you would expect to get eclipses more often, so it actually doesn't work on their model. I have been personally told that you can't see much through a telescope. I had a man online go back and forth with me for quite some time, saying that an image like this, you will never see that through a telescope with your own eye. Raise a hand, who's seen that through a telescope? Yeah, you're all lying. I don't know who's paying you, but you're lying. This one's great too. The Hubble Space Telescope. NASA wants us to believe that things fly around the Earth at 18,000 miles per hour, taking crystal clear pictures of galaxies 13 billion miles away. So their premise here is that if the Hubble Space Telescope is moving so fast, it would only take blurry images. Hilarious, hilarious. And then this one here, again, not quite a flat Earth conspiracy, but there was a lot of hoopla about the SpaceX Falcon Heavy launch of the Roadster. You probably heard some of this. It's real because it looks fake. Thanks, Elon Musk. That was the thing to say. But I heard people saying that you know it's fake because the tires didn't explode. Yes, and the answer is so the difference between vacuum and here at sea level is about 15 pounds per square inch. So overinflate your tires by 15 pounds. Do they explode? No. That's why they didn't explode. Okay. A very testable experiment. Guys, this is my absolute favorite. The Globebusters. This is an organization of flat earthers that actually do experiments and try to prove whether or not the Earth is round or flat or whatever. You know, they try to show that it's round. The problem is every time they show it to be round, they decide that the experiment was flawed. So this right here, I have never personally seen one of these, but this is a real item. You can buy one for the tune of $20,000. It is a laser gyroscope. It is like one of the most precise gyroscopes that you can buy. Our university doesn't have one of these. They got the funding, they bought one of these. And the guy said, with all the confidence that comes from a flat earther, that if the Earth was a globe that was spinning, we would measure 15 degrees of drift per hour. They turned it on, and they measured 15 degrees of drift per hour. And so they scratched their head and said, somehow it's picking up the rotation of the sky. Okay, now these are the people that say, if everything just works the way you think it does, like it's all just like, you know, you don't need, I mean, I've heard people say you don't need math to explain the universe, you just need your intuition and your eyeballs. Okay, so if you have an object on the ground, it can't possibly pick up the sky, it can only pick up the ground, it's on the ground, that's logic. Okay, anyway. Also, this experiment here, this is another great one, and this really does work, you can do this. So get 3 poles, set them all up together, scribe a line on them, you now have a yardstick, this is like surveying 101, and now go out to like a marshland where you have a very flat, you know, water line that you can use. And they went out almost 4 miles setting these posts up. And if the Earth was curved, this center one here would appear to be higher up if you could get a laser to go across your 2 hash marks here. They did this, that's what they got, and then they decided the laser's somehow reflecting off of the reeds and the moonbeam is interfering. They threw out the experiment, essentially. If you ever get evidence of a curved Earth, obviously your experiment was flawed. If you take a level on an airplane and it doesn't move, that's proof of a flat Earth. All right, anyway. Does anybody know these people?
No.
Good.
Goodness, no.
Good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know of this guy because of the research for this talk. This is Mark Sargent. He has become a pseudo-celebrity because of his flat Earth propagation. He has a podcast and all this stuff. He's been sent to eclipses. He's been sent all over the place. People try to demonstrate things to him all the time. It doesn't do anything because he knows the truth. But this guy actually became so famous for flat Earth that this other flat earther figured out that he's a CIA operative. Okay? This guy has now made a career out of accusing this guy of outing flat earthers so that the government can take care of them. And he's really caused a lot of headaches for this guy. And when you ask Mark Sargent, well, what about this guy? He says, he's just some crazy conspiracy nut. Keep in mind that this guy will tell you that anyone that goes to get a master's degree will be propositioned by the government, told all of the things that they need to say, be bought and paid for, and that's just how it works. You can't get... How much? No idea. I mean, so that's basically all the stuff I've been told. I have a couple bonus slides for you guys, things that I just found while I was doing this research that absolutely made me laugh. So this bonus here, this is the sun. So if we look at images of the sun through a solar telescope, this is what we see. If we get a camcorder and we zoom in on the stars, and then we isolate frames of that footage, this is what we see. This is apparently proof that the stars are not far away because you can zoom in on them, and that they're not like the sun. They're these ethereal, colored structure things. I just keep scratching my head and laughing at this one. It's so funny to me. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much, but I think these are beautiful. But yeah. This is a person. Apparently, this is a what's that video game?
Minecraft.
Minecraft joke. You know, some people think we're on a globe. Some people think we're on a flat Earth. Apparently, we're in the Minecraft universe. I just thought the cube would look funny. And then finally, this one here. If you can't figure out why someone is lying to you, I'm not sure I can help you. It's two pictures of the Earth where the northern or the continents here are vastly different sizes. But what I like about this is I'm not sure I can help you. At least they know that they can't help us. An admission from a flat earther that they don't know. Very easily explainable, I won't go into it. So some famous tweets. The Flat Earth Society has members all over the globe. And then physicsandastronomy.com says, say that again, but slowly. I think they figured it out. And in fact, I really wish I would have screenshotted it when I first saw it. When I first went down the rabbit hole, I went on the Flat Earth Society's website and they had a tab called The Evidence. And I clicked on the evidence and a page comes up that says, error, we're working on it. Now if you go to the Flat Earth Society website, there is no tab called evidence. It's just blogs and different things. They no longer need evidence. And then Elon Musk, this was a pretty fun one that went around a few years ago. Why is there no Flat Mars Society? Unlike the Earth, Mars has been observed to be round. There's no consensus among flat earthers. Some of them believe in space, some of them don't. Some of them believe in gravity, some of them don't. Some think that the moon's real, some don't. You know, they definitely don't agree. And so then finally, this is just our little revenge. The only thing flat earthers fear is fear itself. And then, if the Earth was flat, cats would have pushed everything off of it. That one's usually pretty good for that. And then finally, this one I think is funny. It's not as good as these. It's still wrong. This guy's technically supposed to be on the South Pole, but if he was on the horizon. But it says, do you think that guy would have any problem seeing Polaris from his point of view? And the flat earther would say, hell no. Does that look close to the horizon to you? So, yeah, so, because obviously that's his horizon line. I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't have put you through this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, please do not ask me. Just leave me alone. All right, thank you. Okay, are there any questions?
Have you ever actually talked to any of these idiots?
I've never personally, I've heard rumors that a flat earther came to one of our events one time.
You did.
Okay. Brenda met him. So it does happen. I've met people that believe every other conspiracy, and then when I say, like, well, what do you think about this flat earth? Like, this was a evolutionary design, didn't believe in evolution, young earth creationist, like all these other things, didn't believe in the speed of light, didn't believe in, you know, genetics or anything. And I said, well, what about the flat earth? Because that's dumb. Okay, well, hey, progress of a kind. Jonathan.
So it seems to me like at least, you know, double-digit percentage of like the flat earth personalities are simply con people.
Yeah,
right?
so
like, most of them must know that it's like garbage and they're just getting people to pay them, right?
So I have no idea how many of these are real or made by, you know, satire, people making fun of flat earthers, but I'll tell you, you find something that you go, oh, clearly this person is making fun of flat earthers. Look into it a little bit deeper, nope, they're a diehard. The craziest things I've ever heard.
Would you say they're lower than the ancient aliens people?
You know, I mean, if you haven't seen the documentary on Netflix, Behind the Sphere, or Beyond the Sphere, watch it, it's sad. But there's a growing movement in science right now that the best way to deal with this might not be to make fun of it as much, because the problem really isn't that these people are dumb, per se. That Mark Sargent guy, if I go back a few slides, this guy was a software engineer for a gaming company. He worked on famous video games. He's not a dumb person, but like, I think, I don't know, maybe if you work in computers, it's easier to fall into the government conspiracy stuff. I don't know.
I have talked with 3 people who are flat earthers. And one of them I've talked with 4 times at length. The last time I was sure I had some rock solid arguments that he would buy. Like, I'll buy a plane ticket, we'll charter a plane, I want to see the edge, you know?
Yeah.
And I have given up.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the cherry picking is, like, if you put any kind of evidence forward, you're either a corporate shill that's just saying, like, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I watched a video that because Neil deGrasse Tyson has done cameos in sitcoms, it's clear evidence of how good of an actor he is. He's just spouting off all this information. I don't know.
Okay, first, we're watching this in my astronomy class. We're watching the Netflix documentary.
Really?
Yeah.
And just having a barrel of laughs?
Well, no. Some people are, like, seriously considering it.
That's the dangerous part, is that some of this stuff is, it's convincing in a certain type of way. And it is scary. You had a second part?
Yeah. I've had many discussions online with flat earthers, and by far the best thing I've ever heard was when I asked someone, a flat earther, what they thought caused gravity, because obviously if there's no sphere, then there's no gravity. And instead of gravity, they say, duh, things are heavy because of their weight.
Oh, I kind of glossed over that one. This one right here, hey, gravity, explain this. This like buoyancy thing. Oh, also it's sea level, not sea curve. Yeah, I've been told that it's buoyancy. You're heavier than air, so you sink to the bottom. And some of them are like, they're so bad that I don't even know where to begin to explain how you've misinterpreted the science. I used to have a joke that it's easy to be a flat earther, you just have to misunderstand every aspect of science.
I would just comment that, you know, we all might have beliefs that are wrong, and this kind of just goes to illustrate how
absolutely
how this can happen. And we each might be believing in things that are not really true, but we have some reason to...
Yeah, the only reason it bothers me so much is that, like, astronomy is, like, my thing, and so when someone, like, just craps all over it, I'm like, no, we gotta do something about this. But they talked to a psychologist on that documentary, and he said, I can sit with anyone, and in 20 minutes, I will find a belief that you have that is just completely unfounded, ridiculous. And it's human nature.
I think of examples like, you know, the wave-particle duality, that, you know, where light is particles, and it's also waves.
But we can test that, though.
Well, that's also more. That's more of like, oh, there goes science again, just saying things like.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess I just would say you should be cautious about believing anything anybody tells you without personally.
The problem is that there's a refutal of evidence. Like they really believe that all the scientists are in a massive conspiracy, not trying to prove each other wrong, but trying to propagate this model of how the universe is. And I mean, how do you get to the interesting things about galactic formation when you can't even get past the shape of the Earth?
How do you even use GPS to get to the grocery store without relativity?
It's all cell phone towers. Yeah. They're lying to you. They got it all covered. That's the thing, is like any evidence you bring forth, there's someone that's come up with a workaround And they're all lying to you. The spaceships go up, they come back down, they don't stay up there.
I would like them to move on to the non-relativistic GPS network.
But they don't believe that the satellites are even there.
They should stop using it, build their own.
Well, that's a good point. I've often told, like, flat earthers that believed in all these conspiracies that if you're so smart, because you say you're so smart, why don't you infiltrate a university, get a job at NASA, and blow the whistle? It shouldn't be that bad.
Are leaders making money off of it? Is that
Oh yeah.
The Flat Earth International Conference.
That would be
this guy,
likely motive.
this guy, he's a tremendously talented artist that makes these globes or
Discs.
hemispheres. Yeah. Whatever you want to call this. They're extremely well made. They're detailed. They're beautiful. They're just wrong. And his other works are beautiful as well. He sells these for hundreds of dollars a piece. In fact, I think that's a lowball number.
It looks like a nice cake.
It's beautiful. Yeah, so this thing actually moves. This is the sun, this is the moon, and they go around. Now the question is if you're in South America, it's nighttime, so you can't see the sun. But then how does someone in Australia see the moon?
How do you see the moon and the sun at the same time? Anyway, one more question, Jennifer.
Yeah, we're cutting into snack time.
When Gary Ross was helping me with the sidewalk observation of the moon at the volunteer grant to the library, we had several people come by, and one guy came up, his first question was, do you really believe people landed on there? And then he went on about the fake moon landings and why the earth was flat. Gary and I let him talk. But
That's the best strategy.
but I don't remember any of his arguments because they didn't make any sense.
I had a guy at the Warren Earth Day. I was showing him images from an astronomy book I had, and we got to the Pleiades cluster, and he told me all about how the aliens from the Pleiades are coming over in these starships, and they're warping gravity, and I just said, yeah.
On the other hand, listen to Sheldon argue with his mother.
All right, so
Objection!
we're going to go to break. Our snack volunteer tonight was supposed to